evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to everybody. It's so good to see you. And welcome to those who are live streaming. We're so glad that you are with us. I don't know whether you can tell. Let me just pause for a minute. Just look at me for a second. Can you tell that I'm bubbling over? I take it the answer is no. Okay. Next week I will come and illustrate it. But for tonight I'm bubbling over because, as most of you know, both congregations have voted in favor of the merger at a rate of 94%, an overwhelming approval of the hard, diligent, complete work of our leadership to be sure that everybody in our congregations know exactly what it is we have been proposing. And I think the hard work on crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's made it clear that this is really a wonderful thing that we're doing. And on July 1st, we will become Mishkan Or. And I hope that if you have some reservations or concerns, that you will be patient and recognize that transitions take time. But we are going to soar, S-O-A-R. And I hope that you will all come along and help us. This is a momentous moment. We will look back on this moment as a major transition in the life of our congregation, of the Jewish community in Cleveland, and really the Jewish community in North America. We intend to make an impression and to be transformational. And with that build-up, the only thing that can come next is the Shehechianu, to say thank you for this moment. Let's join together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
It's my pleasure now to welcome forward Carol and Ken Hockman, who are going to light our Shabbat candles and lead us in a prayer. You can find the reading on page 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
We're going to continue now in our prayer books on page 26, and I invite you to rise for the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד דברי חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודש הבריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ואמרו amen.
We remain standing for the call to worship on page 28.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Together, praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. On page 33, let's continue reading together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Le'va'ed.
Together, hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Baruch Shem, His majesty forever and ever. You may be seated. We turn to page 36 and join together in the chanting of the V'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy unto your God. I am Adonai your God. who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God. Adonai Elohechem, Emet. Turning to page 40. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders together? Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Gaal Yisrael.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malachotecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze'ilianu v'yamiru Adonai yimloch Adonai yimloch le'olam eved.
On page 43, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שביעי שבת כולם ישמחו ויתענגו מטוב השבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
We turn now to page 46, and as you are able, I invite you to rise for the Amidah.
Adonai, open up my Adonai, sifatai tiftach ufi yagid hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל. וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
At the middle of page 53, let's read together. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. And we continue now on page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Let's continue together. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech hatov lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech hatov lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
We have moments now for silent prayer.
עושי שלום במרומיו, הוא
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
This past week, I was invited to confer with 109 other rabbis across denominations to discuss the future of Zionism and examining Jewish hatred in America. This group of rabbis came from Reform to Orthodox and everything in between, and had the privilege of coming together around an important topic, our future, and learn from incredible thinkers, scholars, and other supporters of the Jewish community, including Dr. Rachel Fish, who has helped Brandeis navigate Jewish hatred on campus and has seen the college campus trend of Jewish hatred proliferate. We were also joined by Congressman Richie Torres, who has not only been committed to fighting Jewish hatred, but standing beside Israel in this most difficult time. There were many others who were there, and I have enough material from this conference for another year's worth of sermons, truly. It was inspiring and motivating and at times very difficult. And I'd like to share some of this with you in this evening in hopes of answering some of the difficult questions we've all been grappling with, while also leaving you with more questions than you came in with. With her permission, I'm going to tell you about the speaker that perhaps moved me the most, Yasmin Ohebetzion. Yasmin's poise and strength have served her well, as she is only in her early 20s, attending Tulane University, where she, just last week, had to testify in front of Congress regarding the turbulent nature of Jewish hatred on her campus. She, among other students, have had to maintain their grades while also suffering intolerable mental, emotional, and sometimes even physical conditions in their schools on a daily basis. As a first-generation Iranian Jewish American herself, Yasmin not only fights the fictitious claim that Jews are all one race and color, but also understands the long-standing hatred against the Jewish people, as her family had to flee Iran due to persecution. The campus administration recently tasked her to write about the Jewish hatred she experienced on the campus, and send it to the DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department. And this is an organization that is meant to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people, particularly groups who have historically been underrepresented or subject to discrimination. But she had to wait over 6 weeks before even receiving a response, and suffice it to say, no real action was taken. She shares this in her testimony before Congress, and I really highly recommend that you watch all the students who speak out. It is painful, but also very impactful. They have all suffered due to lack of consequences in the school's policies against Jews. And if this is what's happening on our college campuses now, where are these students who are causing harm going to be in 10, 20 years from now? And are our Jewish students on campus safe? And are they prepared enough to thwart this kind of hatred off? Former Anti-Defamation League head Abe Foxman argues that American Jews have been able to contain Jewish hatred in America for a long time. However, this containment strategy, Foxman contends, fell apart because of two major factors: the internet and an endorsement of the end of civility in American discourse. Foxman called the internet probably the worst significant instrument that has given legitimacy to anti-Semitism. It's given it a superhighway and a level of anonymity more than we ever could have imagined. Foxman is shocked by the intensity of the hate, and he says, "We studied it. We knew it was coming from left and right, but what surprised me the most was the intensity of the hate and the intensity of the silence. I'm shocked that you cannot find 10 organizations that we, the Jewish community, have stood with in the last 50 years who stood up clearly with us in this moment. Additionally, Foxman discusses the current climate of anti-Semitism at American elite institutions of higher education, where he notes the role of university Middle East centers set up by Arab institutions and donors decades ago. On the face of it, it was benign, Foxman said, noting that even then some universities approached the ADL asking for non-discriminatory agreements with Arab countries so that these centers didn't discriminate against Jews. But we didn't prevent that, and the Middle Eastern centers became Judenrein, a term meaning cleansed of all Jews, with donations in some cases explicitly precluding Israel studies and faculty. Today's academic climate, Foxman contends, is the result of a very deep investment of 2 generations of scholarship and inadequate parallel measures by the Jewish community. And he offers us an example. He'd say, I'd hear of a Jewish person donating $20 billion to a university, and I would ask them, what condition did you put on it? And they'd say, none. These donors did not specify or ask for the funds to support Jewish studies, Holocaust studies, or even Israel studies. And Foxman argues that's our failure. But we should understand that this is a result of 20, 30, even 40 years of investment by Arabs. And I have to say, after reading Foxman's words, not only was I disturbed, I had heard of some of this before, but I was curious and wanted to share more precise numbers with you this evening, and what I found was pretty astounding. Major universities, such as Harvard, Tulane, Rutgers, Stanford, Cornell, Berkeley, and the list goes on, have received enormous funding from Muslim states in the Middle East and the Gulf, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. According to the Department of Education, between 1986 and October of 2022, colleges and universities received nearly $44 billion from these foreign sources, and nearly a fourth of that, $10 billion, came from Arab individuals, institutions, and governments attached with very specific agendas. Most of the funding came after 9/11, as Arab states, particularly the Saudis, looked to improve their image in the United States. Nearly half of the gifts in the report came from Saudi resources. Additionally, private donors have been very difficult to track, so this is just the tip of the iceberg of the actual gifts that have been received. These gifts have helped fund and develop departments of Islamic law and establish a professorship in contemporary Arab studies, which on the face of it is a wonderful contribution to diversity in our schools and in our country, but in application, it means that many of the professors and students come with a bias towards Jewish students and professors on campus, often removing or creating a climate of hate towards Jews and Israelis on campus, as Foxman has seen in his tenure at the ADL. Friends, these are truths that we must contend with. They feel sticky and uncomfortable, but they are real. And the people who are on the front lines of these challenges are our children. And I implore you to look into this more on your own. And I'm not trying to scare anyone. If anything, I'm hoping we will get inspired to do things differently, hopefully maybe a little better. Foxman also attributes current anti-Semitism on campus to a failure of administrative guts on the part of university administrations, which we are seeing and hearing from our college students. I have personally spoken to several dozen of our kids who have shared this experience. Foxman reminds us that it's not about freedom of speech. We know what's permitted to say and what's not, and no one is going to protect the N-word under the auspices of freedom of speech, so No one is going to gas the Jews. It's not about speech, it's about behavior. Most university, Foxman points out, have behavioral codes. You can protest and speak, but you can't stop someone else from going to class. University administrators have the means to act, and they're not acting. And that is what is so frustrating. We don't need task forces on anti-Semitism. We need task forces on how universities can implement their own codes of behavior. They must develop consequences. In Foxman's words, we need to come together and build a new containment strategy. Many of the elements that worked for us before are no longer existent. The most important of those is truth. Anti-Semitism is the big lie. You answer the big lie with truth. Since October 7th, Jewish pride has blossomed. The community around the world stood up and said, I am a Jew, I want to be a Jew. Foxman argues that's the test of the future. How proud will we be of our Jewishness? And to what extent will we stand up? It's not about what they do. It's terrible, it's frightening, it's debilitating. But we can overcome it. It's more about us than it is about them. And the signs now are positive. Quoting the late Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir, Foxman jokes, Jews don't have the luxury to be pessimists. We believe that out of tragedy, good can come. After destruction, we survive. Then we rebuild. As Rabbi Klein mentioned at the beginning of our service, we have embarked on a magnificent and exciting journey of unifying two historic communities. And in a way, it feels like we are two entities coming together as one, but actually, in reality, we have always been one. We are the Jewish community. In this unifying process, we will have the opportunity to take the best part of ourselves and transport them into our future. The Temple-Tifereth Israel is built on the remarkable work of Rabbi Hillel Silver. If he were standing beside me this evening, which I believe in some ways he is, I am certain he would want us to continue the work of fighting Jewish hatred and having a complex relationship with Israel. Not an easy or seamless relationship, but a deepened one that is multifaceted. Abba Hillel Silver was not only a forceful and commanding presence in the American rabbinate, but also a persuasive voice for Zionism, not only in Jewish forums, but in Washington, D.C. and the United Nations, at a time where Reform Judaism was primarily opposed to the aspirations and principles of Zionism. For him, there was no incompatibility between a Reformed Jew and an ardent supporter of Zionism. And this sentiment still holds true today. Jews have the right and should be in their indigenous homeland. Silver is quoted saying that Zionism is the national effort to restore the lost harmony of Jewish life. As we journey to build a future that is more embracing, we are mindful of the words that come from this week's Torah portion, Vayachel. Vaya'asu kol chacham lev be'osei hamalacha et hamishkan. Sound familiar? The chachamei lev, oh, I love this word. The chachamei lev, those who are smart of heart, those who are invested mentally and emotionally to work on the mishkan, their communal dwelling. ויאמרו אל משה לאמור, מרבים העם להביא מדי העבודה למלאכה אשר ציווה אדוני לעשות אותה. And the Israelites said to Moses, the people are bringing more than is needed for the tasks entailed to create the Mishkan. Huh. So Moses says to them, let no man or woman or person make further effort toward creating their offerings for the Mishkan, for their dwelling. Each person contributed so much to the Mishkan, their dwelling, that they had an abundance of everything they needed. Let us all be chachamei lev, those who are mentally and emotionally invested in Mishkan Or, our future dwelling of light, not just in Cleveland, but for our entire Jewish community in such abundance, that hatred will dwell nowhere else in the world and only peace will prevail in the future. Being in community is an essential part of pushing hatred out. And it is our job, every single one of us, to invest in a strong Jewish future for this generation and the ones to follow. May we continue to have the strength and the courage necessary to thwart hatred with love and hold our Jewishness at the forefront of everything that we do, taking it wherever we are so truth will prevail and lead to shalom. And in this moment, with words of peace, with words of pushing for an abundance of peace, we think of those who are ailing of heart, mind, body, or soul, and we wish peace upon them. This week we think especially of Adele Adler, David Case, David Michael Ben Selma Ve'ita, Bonnie Chizik, Barry Cott, Jackson Curdy, Christine Embressa, John Goodman, Maddie Jefferson, Liv Miller, Richard Moore, Edith and Levi Rubenstein, Walter Schwartz, Shayna Bat Yosef Verachel, Bob Shippey, and Shirley Elkhart. If you are at this time thinking of anyone who you would like to send a prayer of healing and include in our hearts, I invite you to say their name as my gaze meets yours. I invite you to join me for the Mishaberach on page 253.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikol HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikol HaBracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
I invite you to please rise as you are able and join me on page 282 for the Alein.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל
Why I had you stand during the Mishperach, I don't know.
They did it well, though.
They did do it well. Extra prayer for healing. Please join me on page 291. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה רק כאשר הם ארצם עבדו ואינם. These are the stars up above. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Excuse me. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This time we think of those whose shoulders we stand on, those who are no longer with us, but memories in our hearts and in our minds. This week we think especially of those who were laid to rest: Dory Greenberg, Tauber Simon Kornblut, Harriet Levine, Charlotte Rappaport, Norma Wolkoff. We think of those who were laid to rest in the last 30 days: Barton Gilbert, Barry Levitt, Phyllis Koch, Oleg Greenberg, Harold Levine, Terry Lynn Zirkin. And as has become our custom in the last few months, we think of those IDF fallen soldiers of all faiths that serve in the IDF. Captain Yahel Gazit, Captain Eitan Fish, Captain Liron Snir, Captain Arnon Moshe Avraham Benevetzi Vaspi, Captain Ro'i Biber. And of course, we always think of those whose yahrzeit fall at this time. Ignatz Asherman, Julie Baer, Jacob Bass, Della Bidal, Mildred Borovitz, Tilly Dolan, William Dolan, Lillian Edelman, Charles Eisenman, Melissa Ann Monas-Evan, Harold Fellinger, Arthur Friedman, Joseph Friedman, Oswald Gilroy, Dr. Sanford L. Gray, Minnie Forsch Greenstein, Joseph H. Gross, Merrill D. Gross, Frederick H. Heiber, Irene Jaskolik Heiber, Louise W. Heller, Irvin Jaffe, Edith G. Kendis, Frank I. Klein, Elmer M. Kramer, Dr. William B. Levinson, Fanny Levine, Rose Schaffner Liebenthal, Jerome S. Malavan, Maud Singer Meister, Florence Davidson Melitzer, Michael Mendelson, Esther Mayer, Desso Offenberg, Max Offenberg, Zoltan Zoli Offenberg, Isaac Preman, Adrian Meldon Ratner, Edith G. Reese, Hilda K. Rich, Clementine Fleischem Reitman, Sam Ringel, Sam Rogoff, Barbara Sherman Rooney, Bessie Rawson, Arthur A. Roth, Leonard Schaefer, Ruth L. Shaw, Herbert Schechter, Herbert Schmidt, Dr. Joseph Schwartzberg, David Sebo, H. Bernard Smith, Ernest Spicone, Ann Spunt, Jerome H. Squires, Connie Wollinger Unger, Lena Brown Unger, Rosa E. Weingarten, Marjorie Weingart, Ray Weeder, Adele Joseph Yelson, and Clarice Zeev. If you are at this time in a moment of Shiva, have lost someone in the last 7 days, Shloshim, last 30 days, or are marking a yahrzeit, or if I have mispronounced any of the names, I invite you to say the person you are thinking of out loud as my gaze meets yours. If you're in a period of Shiva, I invite you to please rise as you are able. In a period of Shloshim, or have lost someone in the last 30 days, I invite you to please rise as you are able. If you are marking a yahrzeit, I invite you to please rise as you are able. And as a caring community, I invite everybody to please rise and join me together on page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביום איכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ועלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלם הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במומיו והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May their memories be for a blessing, and together we all say
Amen.
you may be seated. It has become our tradition here to turn from moments of sadness to moments of being present, which we mostly interpret as joy. To be in this moment. If you are at this time thinking of something joyous and want to share it with our community, I invite you to share it with us now. Don't all rush at once of your celebrations. Yes.
I just recently presented my research at a national conference.
Presented my research at a national conference. How'd it go?
Well, very well.
Amazing, mazel tov. Relief a little?
Yes.
Yeah, I get that. Mazel. Yes, Jeannie Tobin. Jeannie and Jordan Tobin, excuse me. Had an anniversary on Sunday or have? Have. How, can I ask how many years, or is that not kosher? No, we don't know. Many beautiful memories together, Jeannie and Jordan. What a blessing. To many more, however many more, in the future of anniversaries. Mazal tov for you both. We have so much to learn from you. I won't, I know. Of course, we have our merger, our opportunity for growth, which Rabbi Klein so beautifully introduced at the beginning of our service. May we continue to have many, many blessings, especially those that maybe seem mundane, because one day they might not be there. So let us, you're pointing. What, I can't, is there something else I'm missing? What am I missing? More words, less fingers. Birthday? Do you have a birthday? When is your birthday? February 18th. And how old did you turn? 5. Fabulous. Did you have a party? Did you have a party? Did you have a good time? I guess I didn't make the guest list. That's fine. I'm just kidding. And with that, I ask if you would help us with the Shehechianu blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
If you are under the age of 18, I would love to invite you to the Bima to do, yeah, that's you, to do Kiddush and Hamotzi with me. Come, don't be shy. It's challah, like you have nothing to miss out on. Yeah, we have a bar mitzvah boy. Yay. Come, my friends, come. Come. Join me in the blessing over the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pori hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
And now we do the blessing over our challah.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ. אמן.
First dibs on challah. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. This isn't your house. You can just go crazy with the challah. And this evening's closing song is En Keloheinu, found on page 322. Please join us.
אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו, מי כאלוהינו, מי כאדוננו, מי כמלכנו, מי כמושיענו, נודה לאלוהינו, נודה לאדוננו, נודה למלכנו, נודה למושיענו, ברוך אלוהינו, ברוך אדוננו, ברוך מלכנו, ברוך מושיענו, אתה הוא אלוהינו, אתה הוא אדוננו, אתה הוא מלכנו, אתה הוא מושיענו.
Friends, I truly hope you'll join us next Friday night, where we have next Friday night, where we have our celebratory unification Shabbat with all of the clergy. That doesn't mean 7 sermons, don't worry. It's just a celebratory Shabbat. We really hope you'll make it and join us in celebrating. And may we wish for a peaceful future where we get to forever celebrate our Judaism in a way that speaks to our hearts. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.